Hi, welcome to ComSpark here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm Kevin Gadd. I'm going to be your host again for another interview. And I've got Orlando Sprockel here with me. Hi, Orlando.
Doing good.
It's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Orlando is the Director of IT for Cameron Mitchell Restaurants. And anyone that knows me knows I love restaurants. My son is a chef. I go to a lot of restaurants. What is it like working for the Cameron Mitchell Group?
It's amazing.
How many restaurants do you get to go to?
So we have 60-something restaurants in the group. We have the Rusty Buckets that some of you guys are familiar with, the more casual dining. Then we have on the Cameron Mitchell side, we have the more fine dining. So I go to most of the ones here in the local Columbus, and when I travel, I will visit one of our ones that are remote.
So you are responsible for IT at the home office as well as the restaurants, or primarily the restaurants?
Everything. So home office, restaurants. So these days, everything that's plugged in is under my belt. So it used to be just the core IT. Now, HVAC system, music system, camera security, everything is a IT issue.
How many people are on your team to manage this? That's a lot. With 65 restaurants.
Yeah. So the company is 4,000 employees. But my team, my core team is 7 people. But we do partner with a lot of vendors. So if you look at that concept, I have an extension of my team built with partnership. So they bring us services that we need. So I need support 24/7 when it comes to cybersecurity. So I have a partner that we partner with, and they will provide us that 24/7 support.
Got it. So before we get to the new stuff, tell me about some of the challenges you've had just in dealing with the growth of Cameron Mitchell Group. It's grown pretty nicely. What kind of challenges have you had to deal with through that period?
Yeah, so one of the basic challenges is just due to introducing a lot of new technology, we also have increased the number of tickets we get because of new technology. So the
Tickets, you mean like
computer issues tickets.
Like
yes.
help desk tickets?
Yes,
Gotcha.
correct, yes. And so we have seen an increase. We have introduced, like I said, new technology to enable and provide better services to our associate, but that in turn generate more IT tickets for us in the help desk. So just in the last year, we grew about 20% over our ticket count. So to deal with that, we hire another person into the office, not only to deal with the 20% growth, but also change his working hours so we have coverage, because most of us go home at 5 o'clock. Restaurants, that's when they start. So and a weekend services. So we have to cover not only extended hours but also weekend hours.
So what are the things that are coming up in the future? Because I know Cameron Mitchell, just from what I read and understand, he's definitely a forward thinker.
Yes.
What are some things that you're working on that you can tell us about for the future, just to make it a better restaurant experience?
So as for the restaurant experience, one of the things we're bringing in is if you're, for example, a business and you want to reserve one of our what we call private dining rooms, the PDRs, and so you you reserve the room, you want better Wi-Fi, you want better AV, so you as the business can entertain your own guests. So that's a challenge that we're dealing with these days, is just upgrade and make the AV experience for our guests in those private dining rooms. On the other end is, as far as you mentioned, the customer experience is sort of in the background, but the whole thing about cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is front and center these days. Look at PCI compliant, the breaches that you hear in the news. So that is definitely something center for us right now, particularly when it comes to credit card processing. So one of the things that we're working on is the concept of pay at table. So rather than when you finish eating, you present your check to the server, and then the server takes the check back to a station, swipe or whatever. We are now looking at technology, and we're in the process of starting a pilot at one of our local restaurants here in Columbus to allow the server to bring you a device at table where you insert your own credit card and then process, do the tip, whatever, and then close the check and then take your card out, and the card never left your hand. So that's the next generation of technology to increase the cybersecurity support that we are giving to our guests.
How long do you think that'll take for that to be through all 60 plus restaurants?
It will be probably a year process. We are in the process of starting a pilot that will last about another 60 days. And then we evaluate the products. We're evaluating 2 products right now. And then once we've done the elevation, the POC, we will look at which product fits us best, and then we have to work about the rollout schedule. So that will be, because it's going to be a change in the culture, right? There's a change in the culture. There's some training that we have to do for our associate, and just the introduction of the support of that also to the IT team. So that's going to be probably a year process. So that will be our 2020 project.
And what about looking out past that? So anything that you could tell us of that's a big idea that you maybe at the very beginning of trying to figure out?
The buzzword these days is robotic process automation.
Robotics process automation.
Basically, process automation, right? RPA. So is to bring automation into the company so we can remove some of that daily labor task that some of our home office associates are doing. If you look at processing invoice, if you across all of our restaurants, we process about 1,000 invoices per month. So these are invoices like vendors dropping their produce, your potatoes, whatever, somebody comes, delivery guy comes in, drops the, or not drop, but deliver their goods, and then there's a piece of paper because the invoice. There's 1,000 of those per month. So the whole concept of automating that process, that way we can eliminate the labor that's involved to process the invoice, put it in a file cabinet, eventually move it to storage. All that is about if you look at the life cycle of an invoice, that's a long time and a lot of money. By automating it, you remove all that.
I know I was at National Restaurant Association conference a couple years ago in Chicago, and I actually noticed there were several companies that were focusing on that.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how long that was going to take to really, they were startups really at that time. So it's good to see that you're moving that direction. But there's some challenges with that too.
Oh yes,
So,
I mean, it takes a long time to roll it out and implement it into your company. So that's going to be like a year, 2-year plus process, because whoever you partner with has to do a long-term assessment and build the process. It's not you buy off the shelf, you install it, and you're ready to go, right? You have to do the configuration that is required so the process meets your current environment, and hopefully it will change how you do business.
awesome. Well, Orlando, it was great to meet you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you spending time with us today. And for more information, please go to comspark.tech. Thank you.